It is quite literally 1 in the morning where I am, and I am making a video, unfortunately, because one of these comments has kind of gotten to me, and I realize I need to explain some things. I'm a little tired, so you'll forgive me for seeming a bit exhausted. Let me read the original comment and one of the replies to my comments. I might read my own comment as well, so that I can properly address this. To be clear, the Rust community is focused on developer inclusivity and tolerance. You're an insecure and intolerant person. Keep in mind, you is me. The only way for the development community to grow is by openly being tolerant and being intolerant of the intolerant. This is the solution to the tolerance of paradox, which I've kind of sort of talked about in previous videos, where if you tolerate anything because, hey, it's free speech, bro, then you tolerate people who advocate against your position, which leads to them ultimately dominating the conversation due to human dynamics and people being stupid. So that is the start of this. However, let us continue. This video is nothing more than a death rattle from someone who has nothing potent to say any longer because they can't formulate critical arguments. Sorry, got a little armpit thing there going. So instead focuses on ad hominem developer attacks and conspiracy theories. Linux has already ingested Rust code for the kernel, and Linus Torvalds has gone on to say he is disappointed that Rust adoption is not occurring more quickly. This is the original comment. To address this original comment, let's go through it step by step. The Rust community is focused on developer inclusivity and tolerance. What we have learned over the past 10 or so years, pretty much ever since Gamergate, and frankly before that, Donglegate, is that developer or anyone, inclusivity and tolerance is actually inclusivity, but only if you agree with me. This is epitomized in Joe Biden's infamous saying, if you didn't vote for me, or if you don't vote for me, you ain't black. Because there is a difference between being actually African American, which is also a false phrase, but black as a racial descriptor, and actually being politically black. Because you see, if you don't agree with Democrats, you are not politically black. Oh, you might be an actual black person that has an actual black life with actual black lived experience, but you don't matter because you're not politically black, which really just means voting for the Democrats to stay on the Democrat plantation. We continue. The only way for the development community to grow is by openly being tolerant and being intolerant of the intolerant. I'll get to that later. The video is nothing more than a death rattle from someone, me, who has nothing potent to say any longer because they can't formulate critical arguments, so instead focuses on ad hominem developer attacks and conspiracy theories. My video on Rust was about how Rust has become sort of a Trojan horse to introduce political division into open source projects, to introduce political power dynamics into apolitical software projects whose purpose, generally speaking, has been benevolent for the benefit of all, regardless of your creed or your political leanings or whatever. You can use Linux or Bash or whatever open source project, even if you are a neo-Nazi or an Antifa far leftist that firebombed a car, dealership. It doesn't matter because open source software is for the benefit of everyone. If everyone uses it, everyone benefits in a variety of ways, from direct effects to network effects. This can be seen in how LibreOffice's standard not OpenOffice, but it was OpenOffice. It became LibreOffice, but the standard that they set for Open Document was competed against by Microsoft's Office Open XML, the most difficult thing to say since you want to say Open Office XML. But they created these competing open standards, one of which was genuine and one of which was BS, to embrace, extend, extinguish. And I mean, Microsoft Office still continues to be the dominant one. But the whole point of OpenOffice, LibreOffice, whatever you want to call it, was supposed to be that anyone has a high-quality, feature-rich Office suite that they can use on any platform, regardless. And in that regard, it is extremely successful. Extremely so. Sort of the same thing with a lot of other software. GIMP, it ain't Photoshop. I have Photoshop and I don't use it. I use GIMP instead of Photoshop because it's universally applicable and GIMP does meet my needs, albeit with more effort. But the point of GIMP is not to exercise some sort of political agenda. It is to make a high quality, or at least as high quality as the GIMP developers can make it, imaging program available to everyone without regard for any of their anything. It's just everyone benefits if this is available and people use it. Because even if the weirdos use it, the people who are against the weirdos have to open the document in the format that is created by. So everyone benefits. So, yeah, that was a very long response, and I'm sorry. But for someone saying that this is a death rattle from someone who has nothing to say because they can't formulate critical arguments, you're kind of stupid. Because you clearly don't understand what I'm saying. The original video was about how Rust is being used to distract open source projects from actual development and move them into a more political, basically co-opting something like, let's say Linux, because Linux has been captured by radical leftist lunatics. Linux is being slowly pushed to that point. They have actively pushed out a developer who, yes, there are merits to him being pushed out, but they have actively pushed a developer out more aggressively than they would have normally because of the code of conduct pushed by the politically heavily biased lunatics, the radicals that have infected the community. And that's it. It's not about Linux. It's about Linux plus leftism. And that's not the way it should be. Open source should be for everyone, not just people who agree with you. So that was a pretty good critical argument for someone who has nothing potent to say any longer and focuses on conspiracy theories. This person intentionally ignored what I actually said. They made the choice not to understand my arguments, but instead to just go after me in any way they could. There's a reason this is the pinned comment on my Rust video. Let's see. Linux has already ingested Rust code. I'm sorry, Linux. I'm sorry you did that. Keep in mind, all Rust code in the Linux kernel codebase requires that you use the latest unstable version of Rust to be able to compile it, because Rust continues, even as of this recording, January 2024, to lack basic features that are considered to be required by most kernel developers for proper kernel development. You must use bleeding edge unstable Rust to compile Rust-based Linux kernel components. That doesn't really sit very well with me. You know, it doesn't matter what I think, but the fact that you have to run bleeding edge, unstable, untested, latest edition Rust just to compile the Rust kernel bits, you're not as great as you seem to think you are, sir, ma'am, or whatever this avocado avatar is. And Linus Torvalds has gone on to say he is disappointed that Rust adoption is not occurring more quickly. You know, I don't know about that, but Linus Torvalds is not, or Linus Torvalds, as I like to say, because that's actually how his name is pronounced, He's not a good steward of the Linux kernel anymore. So I don't take anything he says very seriously anymore. He's gone from the guy who gave NVIDIA the big middle finger for being hostile to open source to the guy who has adopted far leftist ideology because his university student feminist daughter and a bunch of people on the internet got together to bully him into thinking that he was a senile old man, and went so far as to write up an apology for him, as evidenced by his apology containing Unicode characters, which none of Linus's emails ever contain. Thus, obviously, were copy-pasted. You see where this is going. Linus Torvalds is fully captured by far leftist ideological psychopaths. So I don't care what Linus Torvalds says in the past couple of years about Rust. Linus Torvalds has been completely co-opted. He is no longer the Linus of 20 years ago that cared only about code quality, things working well, not breaking user space. He is the Linus Torvalds of, well, if it makes people feel better about their gender identity, then it's okay with me. That has nothing to do with writing C code with buffer overflows, but at least you feel good about it. So I don't care if Linus Torvalds thinks Rust is good. Screw Linus Torvalds today, because it doesn't matter. He doesn't matter anymore. So, that's actually the end of the comment. So my response was, "Oh, poor baby. You think you have power here. That's cute. We're inclusive by excluding everyone that doesn't follow our dogma." What a two-faced little weasel. It has a few upvotes. If I scroll down a bit, and let's see, where is the next one? Here we go. So a person showed up, and this is what actually inspired this video. A person showed up who has only made one comment on the channel, even as of right now, as of this recording. They quoted, "The only way for development community to grow is by openly being intolerant and being intolerant of the intolerant." And they said, exactly this. If you think this is a dogma? It's just, there's not like an individual dogma. It's like data. The individual form that no one uses is datum, but a dogma. If you think this is a dogma, you should maybe reevaluate your morals. That's the baseline. Well, my morals are that you don't tolerate people who actively try to distract from your open source project available for everyone to make it all about their weirdo, psycho, fringe political beliefs. But hey, maybe that morality is crazy. Oh, wait, that's right. Donald Trump won the popular vote, which no Republican has done in decades. So, yeah, I think that my morality aligns more with the actual grassroots people than you are comfortable being able to handle. So, let's continue. It's not about being political, just about being a decent human being. That is bullshit. Because what happens when these far leftists are confronted with the reality of all of their stuff is that they go from politics to morality. They go from this is political to this is fundamental moral framework stuff. Oh, you disagree with me? Well, it's not that we have a political disagreement. It's that I'm a good person. You're a bad person. What I think is good. What you think is bad. Because you disagree with me, that makes you evil. Therefore not human. Therefore it's okay to kill you. That's how this works. And if you don't believe me, you haven't been watching the news for the past 10 years. And by watching the news, I mean following anything other than mainstream news. Because that's exactly the way things have been treated. People like me, who are consistently right about most things in this world regarding, socio-political events, have a nasty habit of being right, and yet somehow we're wrong. Not because we're actually wrong, but because us being wrong is inconvenient for you and your political far left ideology. Your ideology does not dictate my response. I have just made a massive mistake and somehow cleared out the comment. Hold on just a second, because I really screwed this up. Where did it go? Oh, no. I have royally screwed up. Well, I can probably still find it if I'm very, very lucky. I should have probably screenshotted this. Damn. Here we go. I found it again. So let's continue. Coming from C++, I heard before about how toxic the Rust community is and blah, blah, blah. Let me tell you, it's all complete nonsense. No, it's not complete nonsense. The Rust community could be anyone, but the more authoritative Rust forums and Rust organization and such are very much in the far left camp. So you are incorrect. I had zero issues with any Rust person ever. Zero. Well, who's a Rust person? You don't say who these people are. You don't say where they are. You just say, my data point of one anecdote is that I haven't had a problem. Okay, so you asked a basic question. Cool. Yeah. So don't express any views that they can go research. I guarantee you that'll change the tune really quick. Not to say there aren't any, but personally I've never encountered them and I've only met this doesn't matter. Maybe because I didn't spill any political crap. Well, the problem is it doesn't matter if you spill the political crap in Rustlang or whatever. It matters that if you spill any political crap anywhere, that the psychopaths on Rustlang, whatever, are able to look up or run into, or if they recognize your name from somewhere else on some blacklist that a bunch of far leftists made. So yeah, that doesn't matter. Usually the people complaining about others being too political are the ones who are the most political themselves and only get mad because others call them out for their crappy views. You didn't watch my video. You didn't watch my video because I explained in the video that it's not even about Rust. It's about people who use Rust as a, hey, this is memory safe and superior, therefore you should introduce it into your 100% not Rust right now project, so that we can come in and put this superior language to work for you. Then they walk in and go, okay, now we need a code of conduct that says that marginalized people are better than every other person and that they have more rights than other people. That's how it works. It's a political Trojan horse. They present it as one thing, then once they're in your house, they shit it up as another thing. That is how this works. But you're completely ignoring all that. You didn't even watch the video, did you? I don't think you did. Because if you did, and you actually understood this, you wouldn't say something like, oh, maybe it's because I wasn't political? Well, the problem is not that you weren't political. The problem is that all of it is political to these people. It doesn't matter. It's not about Rust. In the end, it isn't about Rust. And if you watch my video to completion, you'd hear me say, it's not about the Rust language. It's about the people who exploit the Rust language as a Trojan horse to get in the door, saying, look at how much better this is and look at how many people use it. Oh, your project has brain drain. Oh, people aren't coding in C anymore. They're coding in Rust because it's so much safer and so much better. It's so superior. So why don't you use Rust? Because if you adopt Rust, then everything will be better and safer and you won't have all these buffer overflows. Ha. That's the way it goes. And then once they're in the door, they're like, okay, now we need to set it up to where if you're trans, you're at the top of the Oppression Olympics. And then if you're a woman, you're in the middle of the Oppression Olympics. And also you can put black people there. And if you're a black woman, maybe you're a little higher than that. And if you're a straight white male, then you're Satan at the very bottom of the Oppression Olympics. But what does all this have to do with freaking code? Oh, that's right. It has nothing to do with code because the whole point of my video was people lying, going, oh, all we want to do is benevolently bring the safety features of Rust to your project. And then once we get in the door, bend over, sorry, we forgot the lube, enjoy the nail bat up your butt. Yay! But no, you ignore all that. Of course, because you didn't actually watch the video. You just said a bunch of dumb things. You read the title, you read some comments, you replied, you're an idiot. This video is the perfect example, like how it usually works out. Be a jerk and defame the entire Rust community by saying things like they are almost all activist lunatics. Oh, look, they actually watched long enough to hear that much. I bet you that's where they stopped, because that's the thing that they brought up. Parenthesis, which is just rude and obviously nonsense, close parenthesis. No, if you watch the video, I make the case. I make points that explain the case. But no, you stopped there because, oh no, I am offended. I am a butthurt little baby, and I cannot handle somebody opposing my political ideology because I'd formed my entire worldview around this thing that's entirely secondhand opinions that some other jackass told me and I adopted without really thinking about it. I've expended zero intellectual effort in actually adopting my views. Therefore, I'm just sitting here going, oh, I don't know why I think these things, but I would absolutely nuke you over them. I would absolutely genocide you over them because I'm a righteous person and you're just an idiot. You know, what's next? I mean, at this point, all you can really do to respond to this is tell me that I'm fat and old because you see this white hair and assume I'm older than I am. I'm not in my 50s. Shut up. And that's it. He's like, oh, ad hominem attacks. Way to go, genius. You've lost as soon as you do that. Let's see. And then complain, the Rust community is so toxic. Grow up. It's rich that you tell me to grow up when you cannot possibly even listen to the video all the way through and understand it before running your sloppy mouth all over it. Going, I am so smart and authoritative and you are so wrong. You, sir, or ma'am, or Z, Zer, Zim, whatever the hell you think you are an idiot. And my response was, that hinges entirely on what you're being intolerant of. If I were to refuse to tolerate people who are against raping minors, then suddenly the tables have completely been flipped and the building is on fire. Rust is slightly in the direction of tolerating rape of minors and intolerant of those against that, except in programming. Grow up is rich. And that ultimately is my point. That this whole, like, it's this huge own of this stupid old guy that's just whining because he's irrelevant. Because, you know, this guy, he doesn't understand what he's talking about because, look at me, I can leave a comment in YouTube. I am a Stone Age idiot. But in the end, what you're saying is, oh, we should be tolerant and we should be intolerant of the intolerant. But what you're missing is your behavior. You're being intolerant of the intolerant, but the intolerant are saying, we won't tolerate you lying to us, saying that Rust will help us, but then your actual motivation, once you get in the door, is we want to burn your house down and build a new one that services our political cause. I don't understand how it is that this is some sort of an issue. What do you mean we should be intolerant of the intolerant? Well, if you're going to talk about morals, I think that lying to people about your true motivations, coming into their spaces and then destroying what they've worked on to rebuild it in your own image, I'm sorry, that doesn't exactly seem moral to me. That doesn't seem ethical to me. If I wanted to rebuild something in my own image, you know what I do? I take the thing and I make my own new thing and I build the new thing in my image. And I've done this. This is not just some old jackass that's irrelevant and doesn't know what he's talking about saying, oh, I would do this and not that. I have a project called JDupes. Doesn't stand for Java, it stands for Jody because I'm an egotistical bastard. But really it's because I'm unoriginal. I just don't have time to think about some stupid name. I forked FDupes. Yes, I used an existing project to build mine. because the maintainer didn't accept some of my commits, which in retrospect, my improvements were not the best possible, but they still were improvements that worked in the real world, tested, functioned, everything golden. And other people have actually suggested the same exact improvements over a decade later. But I made my own fork of this project and built it with my own name attached to it in my own image. I didn't go, hey, F-dupes guy, you should rewrite it in Rust, but also accept this code of conduct that says that adults can't figure out how to follow the simple guideline of don't be a dick. No, instead we have to have these complicated rules that outline all these oddly specific scenarios so that we can rules lawyer it later. And if you disagree with anything that I say, then, well, I'm a marginalized person, therefore you have violated the code of conduct because I feel uncomfortable. Therefore, you have to be excommunicated from your own project. No, I just forked it because the guy wouldn't take my changes, and I wanted other people to benefit from them. And I've been developing this stupid thing for over a decade. Granted, my development's been slow lately, but that's really not the point, is it? The point is, I did my own thing rather than going into someone else's house and completely shitting up their thing. I tried to offer some of my efforts. They did not want them. I went and did my own thing in response. That's the correct thing to do. The incorrect thing to do is show up and say, I'm going to burn your house down and build a new one that services my ideology over yours or anyone else's. If you do not bend the knee and do what I want, I will set your place on fire. Yeah. And these are the people who are saying that they are morally superior, that they are inclusive, that I've never had a problem because I fall in line. I'm sorry, but it doesn't exactly ring very true for me. When you say that, and I see in practice what really happens, and I call it out, and you show up in my video and go, oh, that's not actually the way it is, except the problem is that is literally what is happening. It's right in front of you. If you just open your stupid, ideologically captured eyes and see what's really happening, maybe you wouldn't have this problem. So yeah, your stupid comment is pinned. Your stupid response comments are pinned because everyone who sees my Rust video needs to know exactly these are the people who are the stupid, who are the dumb, that cause all of the problems. These are the enablers for the cancer that spreads through your projects, that shows up at the door promising great things for free, and then next thing you know, your house is on fire and they're dancing on the ruins. I've been Jody Bruchon. I guess this is political. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that crap. And I hope to see you in the next one, assuming YouTube doesn't ban me. Assuming I don't get banned from some stupid Rust forum for not adhering to some pronoun crap. I just want to write good code. I just want computers to not suck. But apparently that's too much. I don't want to live in this world. Take care.